Once you've reached a certain stature, it's like the old folks always used to tell you, boy, don't let that money go to your head, right? And now, a lot of times, people just are who they are. And you're looking at Shannon, his brand has never really been anything that said he might not be into some of the things that we're learning, right? You could go back to the IG Live, or you could listen to some of the things that he promotes as sponsors of his show, or just certain ways he talks about women during nightcap or whatever it is, right? Like, Unc ain't never hit.
We all have friends that found themselves in various predicaments throughout our life. And you can look at somebody, and even if you take issue with their choices and what they've done, you can still sit up there and look at them. And
Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
Date your age, date your age. Well, I want to date my wage. I'm finna shut all this ish down tonight.
The whole thing with Shannon Sharpe is actually crazy, because how are you even entertaining the conversation after put a big black baby in me? Put a big black baby in me? It's honestly giving that you just have like some sort of racist fetish. Like, you know how when people get with different races and they just play, you know, slave and owner. That's what it's giving when I was reading those text messages. Because what you mean 25,000?
Me excoriating him, you ain't gonna see me disrespecting him. You're not gonna see me stripping him of my support. I can tell you what I think you right and you wrong.
What the two teams that call me, Ocho, say, what's your phone number, where you gonna be?
Who that?
Shut the
Word on the street is that Shannon Sharpe just cut off Stephen A. Smith completely. No calls, no texts, no nothing.
And Sean Diddy Combs, a 13-year-old girl more than 20 years ago, after an award show, after party. I am not going to sit here and dismiss or excoriate Mr. Busby or his client, who's anonymous at this particular moment in time, and the allegations that she has leveled against Jay-Z. I'm telling you, I've known this man for 25 years. And I'm saying, for me, Stephen A. Smith, there is no way in hell I believe this about him. Anybody that...
Why? Because Stephen kept talking slick about Shannon's messy lawsuit situation like it wasn't serious. Here's what went down. When news first broke about the lawsuit against Shannon, Stephen A. didn't waste a second before throwing shade. He was out here tossing little sneak disses and low-key throwing Shannon under the bus. Real bold moves. And get this, Stephen was already dropping hints that ESPN might be done with Shannon before anything official even...
How does he pull it off? Well, first of all, there's certain behaviors and proclivities that you never have to worry about me engaging in. But most importantly than that, I often say this about Walt Disney. I'd rather work for a place with standards than one looking for.
Fans caught it quick and were like, why's he acting like Shannon's already out of here? It had folks giving Stephen the serious side-eye, but then, out of nowhere, Stephen switched it up. Now he's all, I believe Shannon's innocent.
Has been around Jay-Z and knows him, has seen him come to the defense of the most helpless amongst us, which are the children. I can't believe for one second that he would ever be associated with an allegation like this. And I felt it was important to bring that up because you got people out there. Stephen A., you have something to say about Diddy. Why aren't you going to have something to say about Jay-Z? Well, I don't know Diddy.
Really? Fans ain't buying that sudden 180, and apparently neither is Shannon. Word is, he's completely ghosted Stephen, not answering calls, not replying to messages, nothing. Even celebs like Mace are stepping in, calling Stephen a flip-flopper and a snake for switching sides just when things started getting hot. It's getting ugly.
But if you think for one second that I could just do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and there's not going to be any repercussions, you're clueless. And you're destined to fail and fall on your face. Some people sit up there and they look at me and they say, Stephen A. don't get himself in this kind of trouble.
So now the big question is, are we witnessing the end of the Shannon and Stephen A. duo on ESPN? What really made Stephen flip like that on his boy? There's more to unpack here. Shannon's done. No more buddy-buddy with Stephen A.
Walk around thinking you can do what you want to do when you want to do it. You could your own operation. You don't have to answer to anybody. That's not true. I've had people open their mouth and they've said, Stephen A., you work for ESPN. What kind of control do you really have? This is my podcast. This is my YouTube show. I own this.
It's a wrap. Stephen A. wasn't just throwing shots on camera. Behind the scenes, it's even messier. Word is, Shannon Sharpe feels deeply betrayed by Stephen after he flipped on him mid-lawsuit drama. So here's the deal. Shannon is being sued by an OnlyFans model he briefly messed with, back when she was just 19.
But if you sit back and look at the overall situation, you say this ain't no setup. This is a who been in the league and been amongst elite blacks and white people for most of his life. He live in a white community. He been around white people for over 30 years.
And while Stephen is now acting like he's on Shannon's side, don't forget, just last week he was the first to shade him publicly. Stephen even suggested that Disney and ESPN were about to cut ties with Shannon before any official word had even dropped. That move alone had people calling foul, but now insiders are saying that was the final straw for Shannon. Allegedly, Shannon's been feeling like Stephen A. had low-key jealousy building for a while now, especially after Club Shay Shay blew up and went viral with heavy-hitter interviews like the Cat Williams episode.
Boy got a thing for white. He like young white. He really want a 17-year-old, but he can't. He an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old. So here it is, he at the gym working out. He's showing up at the gym with them big old black legs, that big old print showing in them sweatpants, squatting, sweating out his ass with them big old muscles. Now here it is, this little white girl over there on the treadmill. They making eye contact.
As Shannon's fame skyrocketed outside ESPN, Stephen's vibe apparently started to shift. And now, with Stephen trying to backpedal and play supportive, Shannon's not falling for it. Sources say he's not answering Stephen's calls at all. People close to him are saying, it's done, for real. For some context,
who set that up? Who put her there? Who put him there? And who knew they was gonna be attracted to each other to start? Who set that up? Now, if you watch his interview and you sit back and listen to him and Ocho Cinco talk, and he talk about what he do and what he don't do, well, you see he a weenie with the women. He really mean to women. You sit back, man, I don't do this, I don't do, nah, man, you mean to women. You ain't no Matt, you don't even know how to sweet talk women. So you see he really a weenie to women. He just got a big old black with the big old muscle. But he's not a charming man. You see, man, he mean, authoritative, and he regimented. He's not appealing.
When this lawsuit mess first hit, Stephen A. jumped on his show talking about how bad he felt for Shannon. But let's be real, the way he said it made it sound like Shannon's career was already in the grave. But Stephen didn't stop there. Not even close. After it leaked that Shannon was stepping away from ESPN, Stephen A. couldn't wait to bring it up on his show again. This time, he kept going on about how Disney doesn't play when it comes to their image. According to him, once they think you're a problem, it's a wrap.
So the white girl just playing off the big black. He ain't handsome. He ain't the handsomest big black in the world, and he look like a gorilla. Big black gorilla, silverback. And he mean. So she figures she getting this big black, but in the process of getting this big old black, he mean. I'm gonna choke you when I see you tomorrow. Man, just that's all. Yeah, this is baby. You trying to. So she don't want to be treated like a grown woman. She just wants this big old black and let her be irresponsible. He trying to make her responsible and all that other. So now ain't nobody.
Then he threw some extra shade, saying Shannon was being reckless for a man his age, like he thought he was untouchable. And to make it worse, Stephen used the moment to gas himself up, bragging about how he's too smart to ever get caught in drama like that. Real classy, right?
Daytime job on First Disney. The Boss.
But here's where it got real messy. After fans, and even celebs like Mace, started calling Stephen out for being fake and ditching his so-called friend, he suddenly switched his story. Now he's out here saying he believes Shannon is innocent? That flip was so fast, people are still blinking, and folks aren't letting it slide. They brought up the double standard because when Jay-Z got accused by someone tied to Diddy's drama, Stephen jumped immediately to Jay's defense like his rep was on the line. But when it came to Shannon, crickets at first. Even though the two situations are totally different, people felt like Stephen was moving real shady. Mace even called him out on his podcast, saying it was wild how Shannon didn't know all the facts about Jay-Z either, but he still stood up for him fast. Now, here's where it gets really wild. Right after Mace's comments went viral, Stephen A. suddenly switched up again. Now he's out here calling other people out for turning their backs on Shannon.
What direction?
He pulled up on Big Boy's show and started talking about Shannon's situation all over again, claiming it's starting to look like Shannon's being set up. Stephen even dropped a little hint that folks might have been jealous ever since Shannon's podcast blew up last year, especially after that Cat Williams interview took over the internet. But fans aren't trying to hear a single word of Stephen's loyalty speech. Let's be real, he's been the biggest flip-flopper in this whole mess. People are straight up dragging him online, saying the only reason he's defending Shannon now is because Mace publicly checked him for snaking his friend in the first place. Let's not forget, Stephen was the first one to drop a video talking about Shannon's business, and that was before Shannon even said anything about leaving ESPN. One fan said, "Stephen's halfway in, halfway out. His loyalty to Shannon is wild, borderline diabolical." He had no problem going full defense mode for Jay-Z, but when it came to Shannon, he backpedaled so hard it looked like he was never on his side to begin with. Now he's out here acting like that first post was some powerful stand for justice. Please! Nah, people definitely see the switch up. One fan even said, "I was thinking the same thing. He came in loud for Jay-Z, but when it came to Shannon, he talked like he already knew ESPN was about to let him go."
Fortunately, the Shannon Sharpe font.
And fans aren't here for Stephen's sudden outrage either, because let's be honest, a lot of folks feel like Shannon doesn't even need anyone to defend him. Even if parts of the lawsuit end up being false, he's still a 54-year-old man who chose to get involved with a 19-year-old. On top of that, rumors are flying about him allegedly engaging in some disturbing behavior that's making people seriously uncomfortable. Now, it's getting even heavier because more women are stepping forward with claims, and the story is getting real dark. According to the U.S. Sun, Shannon's ex-girlfriend, Michelle Evans, filed a whole separate lawsuit that includes serious accusations going back to 2010. In that lawsuit, filed in late 2023, Evans said she and Shannon had been in a long-term relationship that lasted nearly a decade. But in September 2010, things reportedly spiraled after she confronted him about cheating. That's when she claims Shannon lost it. Evans says he threatened to destroy her reputation if she ever opened her mouth. She alleges that during the heated fight, Shannon forcefully held her down and committed a serious violation, even as she told him to stop.
Came to Shannon, he was like, I wasn't there.
Yo,
in a nutshell, yeah.
I gotta keep it static, you know what I'm saying? Because he wasn't there for Jay-Z neither. You wasn't there for Jay-Z. You were not there for Jay-Z, but you went out on a limb because of the character of guy you know. So I'm not saying that you're wrong for that. I'm saying I would have thought that the same standard would be there, right? If for a guy.
According to the lawsuit, she was terrified and confused by the whole situation and said he didn't let up, even with her protesting. Evans said she felt trapped, terrified that if she fought back, things would only get worse.
This three-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual.
In her lawsuit, she claims Shannon's aggression escalated fast. She says he forced her onto the bed and committed a serious act against her will, all while saying chilling things like he was going to make it so no other man would want me. After that, Evans says Shannon threatened her into silence. He allegedly told her he'd ruin her using his connections and everyone he knows. That's when she says she finally filed a restraining order back when Shannon was still working for CBS Sports. In the court documents, Evans accused Shannon of repeatedly calling her with threats, saying he was watching her and even putting her under surveillance. This wasn't just some breakup drama. She painted a picture of full-on intimidation. Right after the restraining order and those serious allegations came out in 2010, Shannon announced he was stepping away from his CBS gig. But here's the thing. It was all swept under the rug. The headlines faded, and Shannon's career just kept climbing.
Really was the interview with Stephen A. when he was speaking of it. And I was watching it very carefully, Killer.
Stephen A. said something about this already?
Yeah, because Stephen A., he didn't stand with Shannon Sharpe like he stood with Jay-Z. When he heard about Jay-Z, he said, the guy I know, this is not true. When it came
Now, Michelle Evans is back and suing Shannon for defamation, saying he brought up their old legal drama in public and on TV, which she claims caused serious emotional damage and messed with her reputation. She's also standing behind Gabriella Zinga, the OnlyFans model suing Shannon now, and claims Shannon intentionally exposed Gabriella's identity just to discredit her. Evans told the U.S. Sun, I want people to understand what Shannon did to this woman by doxing her, by putting out her name, by putting out her OnlyFans account. That moment had people shook. Evans said Shannon exposing Gabriella like that was horrifying and warned that something bad could happen to her because of it.
Put out there, I am not surprised.
With all that going on, fans aren't exactly rallying behind Shannon. A lot of folks online are saying these new accusations fit a pattern of disturbing behavior. Even people in the sports world are starting to speak up.
I know Shannon Sharpe's lawyer.
Former NFL player and ESPN analyst Ryan Clark said some of the stuff Shannon's being accused of lines up with the bold, over-the-top image he's pushed for years. It's not just strangers calling him out, these are his own peers. Then Charleston White jumped in and didn't hold back. He said folks need to stop spinning the whole Shannon got set up narrative. According to Charleston, Shannon set himself up by messing with a woman young enough to be his granddaughter. That comment alone had social media buzzing. And the fire isn't dying down. New stuff keeps surfacing about Shannon's behavior, and people are saying it lines up with what these women are alleging. One clip that's gone super viral shows Shannon snapping during an episode of his podcast. It happened on the April 30th episode of Nightcap with Chad Ochocinco Johnson and guest Joe Johnson. While talking about the 2025 NFL Draft, Shannon suddenly looked off camera and yelled, "Shut the F up." That moment exploded online, with people saying it was more proof of his rumored anger issues and unstable emotional state. With everything that's come out since the lawsuit, it's crystal clear. Nobody's really feeling sorry for Shannon. People are saying he made his own moves, and now he's got to face the heat. As for Stephen A. Smith, fans are dragging him hard. They're calling him a major flip-flopper, and they've noticed something else too. Stephen's the one keeping Shannon's mess front and center. Some folks are even saying Stephen A. likes watching Shannon fall apart. While he pretends to be supportive, he keeps throwing fuel on the fire by constantly bringing it up. If he really cared, fans say he could have just said, "No comment," and kept it pushing. But instead, he hopped on his show for nearly 30 minutes to talk about how Disney and ESPN have high standards and how Shannon might not make the cut. One fan snapped, "Stephen A. is the type to tell the boss you were late, just so he can take your spot. Straight up snake behavior." And someone else added, "If Stephen A. really wanted to help, he'd just shut up." All this talking isn't helping Shannon, it's making it worse. Now people are wondering, what's really going on with Stephen A.? How you gonna call Shannon a friend now when you were the first one talking like his career was already finished? So here's the real question. Was Mace right? Does Stephen A. really have double standards? Is he a fake friend who just plays both sides? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear it all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your crew, and smash that notification bell so you don't miss the next hot take. Catch you in the next one.